Man, um, we need one game, brother. We need one game. This is not about taking the lead or anything like that. We just need one lead. One lead is all we need, or one win is all we need. Um, the last two games would have been ideal, tied 2-2, whatever, right? But um, they just need one win. You know, win game five. Who knows what happens in game six?
Yep.
They got to play Steph, bro. One leg and all. Should have played him tonight.
Let's buy him time, man.
No, fuck time. The time is now.
Nah,
This shit wide open.
no,
Nah,
you gotta
This
buy
shit
him
is
time.
wide open. We worry
you're gonna.
about the leg next round. We get through this round. You see what's going on? Dude, we got the fifth right in front of us.
Imali,
No, you
Imali.
me.
I've had this injury before. Um, you gotta buy him time, right? So this was always about trying to get to game six. You know what I'm saying? We got Wednesday, which is the 14th, and then the next game is the 18th, right? Like this week, this injury, you need a solid 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? A grade one, you need a solid 2 weeks. And I think that gets you close to that. It gets you really close to that. So that's pretty much what it's about, man. And it's really about getting to game six. So um however you can get to game six is how you get to game six. That's what you need. Get to game six.
You gotta treat it similar to 2016 Game Six against
Yeah.
BC.
Gotta get to game six.
hmm I mean, treat
It-
Game Five like that. The same
yeah.
where Steph was like,
I
"We're
mean,
not going home."
I was telling y'all, bro, I was like, ideally, the last two games is the game. Like you had to win one of those games.
hmm
Right? So I'm not gonna sit up here and give you hopium.
Yeah.
I don't like our chances,
Right.
but but down 3-1 and all of that stuff, right?
Yes.
But uh tonight, bro, it's so frustrating. And that third quarter lead was a shot in the chest,
My
man.
God.
Good
I
God.
know. They hit like five, six straight threes.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I watched there's four times we played them, right? And we played them four times in like less than a month. You know what I'm saying? That's how close we played them. So we played them in rapid succession. So I remember each game. That first game, we tried like to match their size and all of that, and we went big, right? And then the second game, we had Draymond at center, right? And we went out there and we just ran the Steph shit and we ran it at Gobert and all of that stuff, right? And the spacing and the movement and all of that. It really messed them up, right? Then that just kept on happening. We even beat them a couple of times, but the fact of the matter is, bro, Steph is not there. You know, that's pretty much the fact of the matter. He's not there. You know what I'm saying?
This would have been
So
an easy series with Steph.
yeah,
Been a
yeah,
I
5 game
honestly
series
don't
for
know
Steph.
what I don't know what any people were thinking. Like, what were you really expecting if number 30 was out there? Like, seriously, like, don't even try to troll or anything. Like,
Well, you know
what
they're
were y'all
gonna do
really
that because
expecting?
they haters. They gonna troll for sure.
no, no,
That's
no, no, no.
coming, and that's what
It's
come with it.
no,
That's
no, no, no,
No,
no,
I'm
no, no.
talking people inside of our own fan base that are like, "Oh, we can still do this with blah 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 blah." I'm like,
No,
are
no,
y'all
no.
for real right
So,
now? Are y'all for
so
real?
hold on,
well,
hold on,
no,
hold
they
on,
should have been able to get a game, bro.
hold on.
To lose 3 straight games without Steph is crazy work, bro.
No, 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 no. It's actually not,
They
right?
should have been
So
able to get one game, bro.
let me tell you what happened tonight, right? Like the last two games, I thought the execution in the fourth quarter in the last game was pretty poor. Draymond made some critical errors down the stretch. And on this team, the way that they play, the way the roster is, and the way that Steve is running this offense, it's it's not feasible. That's the first thing. The second thing is um the reason why I brought up those 3 games that we beat them this season is that we were playing that one center out there at all times, right? And it worked offensively and it worked defensively, right? Like, and it's not like we had crazy spacing out there. Now, when you're going to put Jimmy Butler out there with 2 centers in the third quarter, and then you run into a offensive drought because the spacing is all jacked up and all of that stuff. I mean, all I was watching that third quarter and all I could think about was those 3 games because I watched the first game and it was like playing in a prison cell, right? And in the 3 games, they started the movement and the spacing and all of that, right? And I watched the lineups that worked the last game, and I think TJD played like 10 minutes total the last game. And I'm not sitting here blaming TJD. That's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying is that you can't compound the issue that existed all season long with a team that is Steph deficient. Right? So, like, I feel that's what Kerr did, and he made a critical error, bro. Like, if you look at like the plus minuses and all of that, that shit went down in that third quarter. And it was because he I guess he tried to lean defense, but he played right into their hands. Like they're a bigger team, right? But they're a bigger team that spaces, right? So, like you can't sit there and just let bro, like if you go Rudy Gobert has like 4 depoys, right? You cannot bail him out and go center, and those 2 centers are not spacers. You understand what I'm saying? So next thing you know, Jimmy Butler is playing in a phone booth the entire time, right? So people are like, "Oh my God, how come he only has X, Y?" For one, he's playing hurt, and secondly, bro, like he's playing in a phone booth. There's nowhere to operate because guess what? TJD is camped out in the paint, right? Like the thing that Steve tried today, Steve cost us this game tonight in that third quarter because one, he started TJD, right? And I know that there's people that think that TJD is some savior. He's not, bro. Like
Bro,
you
no,
can
no. Say who the
Bro,
fuck.
he's literally like the 13th,
He's
14th
bad.
member
no,
of the roster.
you
That makes
can
no
He's
fucking sense for
bad.
people to even say that.
He's bad.
you can singularly have him out there, but you cannot have him out there, with another guy that can't, another front court guy that can't space, right? So you needed something else out there, right? Like you needed another guy that could unclog the toilet even a little bit, even a little bit, even a little bit. You just needed to unclog a little bit, and I don't believe he did that. And that was the crappy part about what I watched tonight because we played a pretty good first half. And then in that third quarter, he compounded the issue. And I was like, you are one stubborn motherfucker, bro, because I don't understand why you did that. I don't understand why you did that, Steve. It was pretty dumb. And, Trace played 6 minutes in that third quarter. So it's almost like you tried to shoot us in the foot. You know what I'm saying? He played 6 minutes in that quarter and then he took him off. He's like, oh, well, it's not working. After we were down, the run happened and Steve just kind of just threw his hands up, right? Like, you know, that Kaminga, Jimmy, Draymond lineup, right? That worked a little bit better the last game. It worked defensively and all of that. And I get the mistakes that JK makes, right? But he kind of was the one dude that was providing any type of rim pressure tonight, and
Bro,
I thought he played 3 amazing games. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
been he's been the
But
he's
best
been
player of the
above,
series. He's been the
yeah,
best player in the series,
bro, he
above
barring
played
On
three
Curry
both
out.
amazing games
ends. On
tonight,
both
right?
ends. Let's not forget on both ends.
Yeah, he played 3 amazing games tonight, and you saw that they had issues with his speed and his athleticism, right? Like I seen him have Nas Reed in the corner. He just made one move, not he just shed Nas Reed, and he was at the rim. Um, if you want to say that like his game is fake or whatever, I don't know, man. He shot how many free throws? He had 12 free throws tonight.
And he
You know,
needed 11.
a kid playoffs 12 free throws. That's pretty damn good on our team. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to look at it from the standpoint of Steve fucked up, man. I mean, we were already shorthanded, but there was a path, man, and the path going double big was just silly. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all know
I
I'm
just
not
don't
a
understand Steve sometimes. You get what I'm saying? Like if you, it just doesn't make sense. If you have a formula that works, why do you go away from it?
bro. Hey, it- this man parked TJD for I don't know how long, right? He parked him for the entire time, right? And all of a sudden, TJD is starting games.
Bro, what
It's
the
like
fuck?
it's stuff like that. Like when people
Fireable
start to
offense.
defend, bro, it's like when people start to defend stuff like that, it's like, really?
It's a
And
fireable
then,
offense. He did
bro,
the
and
same shit
then,
with Kaminga in the Lakers series. He was playing
bro,
Anthony Lamb all year.
y'all can insult people with all of that bullshit, but I know what the fuck I'm watching, bro. You know
These
what I'm
niggas
saying?
stupid, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And
The-
then on top of it, bro, some guys got to work on some stuff, right? Like a lot of these guys, Pods,
This
I could
fucking
remain
Moody,
garbage.
silent.
It's trash.
I will. I will
Moody,
remain
all
silent.
of them, right? Pods, Moody, all of them. They got to
What,
work on their handle, right?
what about Jimmy
Let
tonight?
me, bro,
What about Jimmy tonight?
hold on. I'm gonna get there. So, Pods, Moody, Kaminga, right? Those three, they got to work on the handle. I seen Ann Edwards make a move in the paint tonight. That dude had the hit left hand, right hand. He had that shit on a string
He did like a little
deep
crab
into the
dribble.
paint, bro. Deep into the paint. He had that thing on a string, right? He had that ball on a string, right? All throughout. He didn't pick up his dribble. You know what I'm saying? Pods does this thing where he gets into the paint and he's picking up the dribble and he's stuck. You know what I'm saying? If you're one of these point guards and if you're a ball handler and all of that, you got to have that shit on a string, bro. You know what I'm saying? You should have the shit on a string and use your dribble to get to any fucking place you want to get to on the court. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think a lot of these guys have the ball on a string, right? So, and that's all of them, bro. Kaminga, even though he's played amazing, Pods, right? Who's the point guard? Moody, right? Like to play on this team, man, I mean, this handle got to be better, right? Because then when the handle is better, you can make these snappier decisions and you can get to anywhere where you want to on the court, right? So that's why Steve's plays so many fucking guards, right? So people got to work on the handle, work on the decision making, right? But at some point, um, you know, I'll say this too. If you didn't believe in Steph Curry and the shit that Steph does, you know, this is not a close series if I'm Steph Curry is playing. So I know people are
Not
gonna do
even
damn
close.
troll
Yeah,
shit,
but
right?
everybody
Not
knows that.
even
This is
close.
But
everybody
everybody
knows.
knows
No, no,
that.
no.
Even the people that can't stand the Warriors know that. That's the funny part.
No, but they're still getting those takes off, Rose.
No, no, no. It's
As
fine
they
if they
They
should.
get
it's
those
It
takes
come
off
with
So
because
this.
they're
they're
letting
They're
the
used to it.
Warriors
jealous.
fine.
They
That's the
haters.
difference.
They
Don't
don't
fall
care
for the
how we lose. They gonna get
don't
it
fall
off.
for
That's
the
fair.
bait.
That's fine.
Don't fall for the bait then.
But the thing is, if we don't say anything about it, when people were saying nobody's going to talk about the Finals MVP in 2015, and it became a narrative to kill Steph's career, bro. It's just how it works. It's unfair. That's
Steph's
just how
career
it
at this
works.
point is unkillable. That's
We
what I
knew
mean.
we know
Don't
that
fall
we
for the
know who the
trolling.
best player was in those
Lee, let me tell you
finals, but
something
it don't
too.
matter because they couldn't
Lee,
get a
let me tell
ring.
you something too, right? Every year, every single year, right? The playoffs is about the war of attrition.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
And and this is where I'm gonna blame Steve, right? When you are going to say shit like we have one try to win 3 games and this and that, right? And then you're going to not play this guy here and you're going to bullshit off the game and right? Like then, you know, I heard somebody say something one time that I, I think it was Steph that said this that one of these playoff games is like playing 2 games. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going to play a playoff game and then that Rockets game 5, right? We're up 3-1, we're doing our thing or whatever, and then and then I saw how we approached that game. I was looking at the minute distribution in that first half, and it's almost like they were like, all right, if these guys come out guns blazing and all of that, we'll just pack it up and win in six. And then we didn't win in six. Buffoonery happened in game six, right? Next thing you know, we're playing a game seven on the road, right? So I think Steve, I would call Steve a risk averse person. You know what I'm
He's a
saying?
moron. Nah, you gotta keep it a buck. You gotta
Let me
keep it
tell
a
you who
buck.
Steve is, Gigi.
Yeah, that's
Like,
just a stupid nigga, bro.
hold on. Let me tell you who Steve is. Steve is a person that will put his money in a savings account
Mhm,
as opposed to
mhm,
putting it on Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
That's who Steve is. Steve is not like he's a very risk averse person. You know what I'm
But
saying? I promise you that Steve has the same fucking routine. And sometimes you need to just take these little risks. You know what I'm saying? And because the approach after game four, I thought was piss poor of that Rocket series, right? Because I think the guys needed some rest. You know what I'm saying? And then you play that game six, you play the game seven, short rest, and then all of a sudden Steph pulls his hamstring, right?
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
And
he's dead ass like, and you know what I mean. Like I feel like it's a little bit less. Like I agree with the fact that he doesn't want to take risks, right? But if you just look at it from like if you take a step back, isn't it more of a risk to play a game seven away from home? Like I'm talking about the Rocket series here. Isn't it more of a risk to play a game seven away from home than to play a game five on
no, man, no,
stage?
no, 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 no. They intended on winning that game six. You know what I'm saying? The
Mhm.
problem is that the Rockets just came in with another game plan and they just flat out beat us. You know what I'm saying? And then all of
Exactly,
a
but
sudden, right? Hold on,
isn't
hold
it
on, hold
more
on.
of a risk to do that?
No, 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 no. The game five and the way that they approached it was like, all right, we're just gonna get our ass beaten and then we're just gonna go back and win it in six, right? Like I feel like you need to show killer instinct in that game five, right? Like I feel like they didn't show killer instinct. Like the whole thing was off during that game. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because one, sometimes when you let your foot off the gas and you let that stuff like that happens, then it compounds. Again, one playoff game is worth two because these guys are playing hard, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Urkel. I
If
know there's a tweet out there. I'm gonna try and find it and post it in the Jumbotron. But there's a tweet out there that
yeah,
says, "Look at all the years that we won the title. Right in the first and second rounds combined, during the years that we won the title, they only lost like at
Yeah.
worst three
Yeah.
playoff games combined.
Yep.
And every single year that we didn't win the title or we didn't advance far, we had to play like a game seven in the first round or some shit like
hey
that."
Mhm.
Rose, in 2022, guess how many games we lost in that first the
In the
them
first and
first two
second round, it
rounds?
was three. We
Yeah,
Three
we won in
three
games.
five in the first
games.
round. We won in
Okay,
Mhm.
six in the second round.
we played three games, right? And these are older guys, by the way. We played three games, right? And then that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, the approach. I don't think they approach. I think Steve was just all right. Let me
But
manage these
but
minutes. I
Irk,
know these guys are older, and
But
it's
guys,
Irk,
like,
that's who he's been like his whole time this
nah, bro.
but guys,
But that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
that's
though,
the
right?
problem.
intensity
Like,
though this time it's
bro,
much
hear me
different.
out. Hear me out. Hear me out. You can get far with that, right? But if you invest in a fucking savings account, right, you'll get your little 3% and all of that shit, right? But if you take a risk, right, take like a nominal risk, throw 10 bands on Bitcoin 10 years ago, guess what? You're a fucking millionaire, right? So being risk averse, when you look at the economic cost of being risk averse, it can cost you a lot of fucking money. And and we paid a tax, right? We paid a tax by not taking a risk in that game five. And then we
But
paid, right,
but
because bro, I saw the complacency set in,
but
bro.
my thing
You
my,
Yeah,
know what I'm
my
I
thing
saying?
is though,
Because
like, well,
they were
the
trying to.
I 1,000%
complacency though,
agree.
the complacency though, what I saw was from the very beginning of the game. I mean, like, he didn't necessarily not try. Like, they were down 19, and he's like, all right, these guys aren't playing, so that's what happened. It's not like, I mean, Houston wanted to was desperate for game five, so you have to give some respect to the opponent here. They are the two seed.
It's like so like they deserve to win that game too. Sometimes the other team is just wants to win that game too. So you can't put it all on us for losing the game, thinking that like we didn't try when actually Houston actually just earned
Hugo,
5.
Hugo,
Well,
Hugo, Hugo,
game
Hugo,
6 though, but game 6 where
Hugo,
that's
Hugo,
when we messed
Hugo.
up.
I'm going back to that game 5. Did you see their approach in that game?
Yes, I mean we know like I
That's
mean
what I'm saying,
they
bro.
came out terrible.
Listen,
They came
listen,
out
listen,
flat. Yeah.
Steve Kerr said we had 3
listen.
chances to win the fucking series.
I'm
When you
not.
tell your
Hold on, hold
players
on.
that,
But like
I'm
my thing
not
is like
saying.
I'm putting that more on the players than Kerr
Listen
for
to me.
game
Listen to me.
5 with no
No, hold on, hold
energy.
on,
That's like
bro. Players play, right? I completely understand what you're saying. You're 100% right. However, when we're talking about like a mentality and all of that, Kerr, he's managing these guys. Like if you go back and you look at the game 5, right? And you look at how many minutes Draymond played, bro, he played like in the first half, right? Draymond probably played, I'm gonna say 10 minutes total in that first half, right? So that is him actively saying, all right, I'm not gonna push these guys too hard
but
because
remember
blah
they had
blah,
like
right?
3 fouls in the first like 4 minutes. Like he had foul trouble too.
Listen, I get all that, but I was watching what he was doing with the other guys as well. I'm watching it, bro. I'm saying, right? So I know what I'm watching with these guys, bro. Right?
But my
And
thing is though
he's
I just don't want us to be like saying like it was like it's all on Kerr for them losing game 5
you're not understanding what
when
I'm
like the
saying,
pie.
bro. You're up here and you're hearing the words, but you're not comprehending what I'm saying. I'm saying that, sometimes, all right, let me give you a good analogy for this, right? It's almost like, you know, it's almost like you can take care of something up front and you don't take care of it up front, and then it costs you on the back end, right? So when you probably could have fixed your brakes earlier, right? You bring in your M3, right? And you should have just fixed the brakes early and you let the shit compound until it's like metal on metal. Then the shit costs you 4 grand. That is essentially what happened to us, bro. That's all I'm saying. So, I mean, um, I don't think they came out with the proper energy because I was watching it. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching it, and he's like, "Nope, it's cool. I get it." And you right, and in some senses that he's right. You need to win the attrition battle, but you need to like when you're up 3-1, bro. You got to wrap this shit up quicker. You
But
know what I'm saying?
but that's the
it's
that's the
stupid. It's
that's the
it's
problem,
it's
Earth.
just
Like
pure stupidity
his
from
whole
Steve Kerr.
time coaching, he's always done that. Like you remember in
We don't.
2019
It doesn't matter.
against the
It's pure
Clippers.
stupidity from Steve Kerr. It just if
Okay,
you do the
Lee, Lee,
math,
Lee, Lee. The reason I have this perspective is because I've seen this before,
Yeah,
right? Game two, and you just brought it up. Game 2 of the 19 finals, right? Not the finals,
the
but the
first
first round.
round. It took us 6 games to beat the Clippers with no star, bro. With
Game
Lou
2,
Wilk.
dog, we had a 30-point lead, right? And I'm watching Jacob Evans in that game. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? And I
yes,
was like, what are we doing here, bro? You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like, bro, go back and look how many people Steve Kerr played in that game. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
He
he was
played 13
messing with
on
the
purpose in
game.
that game. I blatantly remember. He played 13 idiots.
In a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sure, I get the team is talented and all of that stuff, but like when you take out certain elements, it ain't looking so pretty, bro. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, you have to just manage the shit better. You have to manage it better. You
bro,
have to manage it better.
if you just got to think about it, right? And the way
Yeah.
I think about it is look at the timing and do the math. If you save Curry 3 minutes this game or 4 or 5 minutes this game, and he has to play a new 35 the next game because you
Mhm.
dropped one, you didn't save anything, nigga. You lost.
Yeah.
That's just bad math. If you play the 5 minutes
I
and
don't know,
win the
man.
game and he saves
I think
36 minutes, you saved. So just do the math. It's stupid.
I think Steve Kerr is the worst coach in the league, but in the
Now,
playoffs,
in
that's
terms
my
of
that's my opinion.
tonight,
That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I
How
think he's
can
the
you
worst
say that?
coach.
You just saw
That's just my
J didn't
opinion.
even play
I'm
anybody.
not even trying to
It doesn't even
argue.
make sense.
That's just my opinion. I think he's the worst coach. However, if you know that you're playing a playoff game, as a player, you have to come with energy. The coach can just give you energy all the time. You have to come and play with intensity. If you're not playing with intensity on the road, of course the home team will kill you. Of course the home team will go up 20 in the beginning of the second quarter. So you have to play with energy. The coach is not gonna always come and tell you, yeah, you guys need to play with intensity. No, it's a playoff game. You're playing on the road. Like you can't, like you have to play with energy. Give your all. Play with intensity. You don't need the coach to tell you
I'm
that,
not gonna come
especially in the
up
playoffs.
here, right? I'm
Especially in the
I'm gonna be
playoffs.
honest with you. I'm not gonna come up here and blame this guy and blame that guy. That's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying is that if we had spacing issues and continuity within the lineup when Steph was here and you went double big, right? And then you compound the issue and then you're still trying to run your offense